Hi, my name is Natalie and I have been teaching tantric meditations and healing for the past 10 years. I do private sessions with men and women and couples, and I recently opened this YouTube channel where I have been talking about different things people tell me, different insights that I've had on these topics, and things that I think might help you in your life. Tantra is for people who are looking for a spiritual awakening, and not necessarily for people who are looking to have better sex. But there is the point where Tantra and sex meets, and that is the place where a lot of people actually find interest in Tantra and maybe proceed to go on a longer spiritual journey in the tantric way. But for most people who are just living their lives and are experiencing all kind of weird stuff in sex, including dysfunction, not enjoying yourself, not orgasming, all these like weird stuff that we experience during sex, and I have some kind of interest in like meditation or energy, then a lot of these tips might be for you. Today I wanted to talk about how many times men should masturbate. The reason I want to talk about this is because men have been asking this on my channel, and a lot of the times in sessions they ask me like, okay, what is the normal or healthy amount of times I should masturbate? If we think about it, it's a bit of a weird question. The reason it's asked, I mean, you don't ask how many times I should turn the light on in my house. You don't ask how many times should I pee a day. You pee when you have to pee. You don't have to like count the times. But with masturbation, and especially with all the pornography that is online at the moment, I think the reason that men are asking how many times they should masturbate a week is because they're doing it too much. What is too much? Let's think about it for a second, because we're not asking a technical question with a very clear answer. How many times is too many times? I'm guessing it changes from person to person. I'll tell you what I've heard from people. I've heard young men in their teens and maybe early 20s who are able to masturbate 5 times a day. And I paused there for a second, because when we're talking about masturbation, we're talking about how many, I think, maybe correct me in the comments, it's not how many times, okay, it could be, but there's like how many times should I sit down and have a session with myself, with my penis and with my sexual energy or my vagina or whatever. And there's another question, how many times in that session should I ejaculate? So in Tantra, we want to separate masturbation from ejaculation, because usually for most people, they go exclusively together. So every time I masturbate, I come. And then the question could be, how many times should I come in a session, or how many times should I masturbate and come once? 2 completely separate questions. And in Tantra, again, we separate the masturbation from the ejaculation. So a tantric man theoretically can pleasure himself and touch himself for maybe half an hour, maybe an hour. He won't come, he won't necessarily orgasm, he won't ejaculate. He might orgasm internally and raise the energy up to the crown chakra or the other chakras that need energy. He might just focus on the sensations of the sexual energy for a while and then let it go. He might ejaculate from time to time, like once, twice a month, when he feels like he has something emotional he needs to release from his body, and the ejaculation will help him with it. But the tantric man looks at ejaculation as a release of energy that is no longer needed in the body, and that can happen once or twice a month. The rest of the time he will still masturbate, but the point or the goal of the masturbation will not be to ejaculate. It will be to raise the sexual energy, to spread the sexual energy throughout my body, to see and work with emotional blockages that come up from within the sexual energy. So there's a lot of things that tantric men do in masturbation. It's usually called like tantric meditations. It's not even called masturbation, but the tantric meditations many times do involve touching yourself, raising the sexual energy, and experiencing pleasure along with the focus on the sensations and the emotional blockages. For men who are not tantric and masturbate every day, how many times are you ejaculating in that masturbation session? Many men have told me that they can ejaculate 3, 4, 5 times in one masturbation session. And then it wouldn't be how many times should I masturbate a day or a week or whatever. It should be how many times should I ejaculate during a masturbation session. Then my recommendation would be once. Ejaculate once. And if you know that it's going to happen only once, maybe try doing it slowly or slower than you're used to. Maybe try to prolong the experience. Maybe have little pauses in between when you feel like you're getting to that point of no return of the 70% sexual energy. And if I go a bit further, I'm going to ejaculate. Maybe stop in those moments. Let your hands go. Breathe. Come back to your body. Come back to your mind, to your emotions. And then you can keep on going. But try and ejaculate once in a masturbation session. So that's my first tip. It would help if you did not watch porn, because when you masturbate with porn, the stimulation keeps on going, so you want to ejaculate again and again and again and again. The problem with multiple ejaculations is that you are throwing away from your body to nowhere, basically, all your life force and your life energy. And you're going to feel depleted afterwards. You might feel tired. You might feel lonely. You're not going to feel well. Men know this. They have this physical experience that after you ejaculate, you don't feel as good. But if you ejaculate and keep on going and do it again and do it again, do it again, then instead of releasing, one amount of sexual energy, now you're doing it 3 times the amount. So that's bad for your energy. I'm not saying it's bad religiously or mentally or physically even. Energetically, not a good idea. So if I'm trying to work with my energy and I feel or I see sexual energy instead of horny masturbation, let's come energy, then bring it down to 1 ejaculation per masturbation. Try and do it without porn. So maybe from your imagination, which is a very good way of exercising our imagination. I did see someone on YouTube recently talk about the fact that kids, because they're on their screen so much, they don't develop the part in their brain that is in charge of imagination, and creativity and new ideas and progress come from our imagination. So we need to exercise our imagination on top of everything else. So try it from imagination. And then if we go, okay, so I masturbate and I ejaculate once every time I masturbate, how many times a day or a week should I do it? Okay, so if it's once a day, then you're ejaculating once a day. So that's okay, because we want to ejaculate no more than once a day. So that would mean that you should masturbate maybe once a day. The healthy recommendation, which probably definitely has medical support, but I am not a medical professional, so I'm talking just from my experience. But the healthiest amount of times that you should masturbate and ejaculate once in each time would be about 3 times a week. And now, this has nothing to do with sexual energy or sex, because I don't really think that there's a healthy amount of times that you should or should not have sex a week. Just have as much sex as you want. When we're talking about masturbation and ejaculation, we're talking about a mechanism that men have grown to use, they've learned how to use throughout the years, that helps them feel a little bit better. So you could say it's a plaster, like a Band-Aid, for the bad emotions that a man is feeling, just like food is. So some people eat emotionally, which means they don't eat because they're hungry. They eat because they're sad, because they're angry, because they're scared. They have this emotion in their body because of a trigger, something that happened on the outside, and that energy, that emotion was activated, and then they think they need to suppress this emotion as quickly as they can, and we each have our own mechanisms for suppressing the not friendly or not loving emotion that has arisen in our body. So some people eat a lot when they're angry, for example. Some people get horny when they're angry. So these, or some people get the idea of masturbation, let's masturbate, because they had anger in their system before. So we want to understand our mechanism in masturbation. Like, why do I do it? What other emotion exists inside of me when I decide that I'm going to masturbate? What emotions were running through my head and my body throughout the same day of that evening when I decided to masturbate? What other emotions are there? Is it a negative emotion or is it a positive emotion? So if it's a positive emotion, good. Then maybe the masturbation is just going to increase that positive energy. If it's a negative emotion, if it's a negative energy, maybe it would be worthwhile meditating on that negative emotion before you start the masturbation. You can still masturbate, do whatever you want. I'm just giving tips and advice on what else we can do in that situation so that we can feel better. So I would check what emotion is currently activated in my body. If it's a negative emotion, I would do a meditation first of maybe a few minutes. And then after that meditation, if I sat with a negative emotion and I still want to masturbate, do it. But maybe pause between. So, you know when they say, take a few deep breaths before you say the next sentence? So I'm trying to say, take a few deep breaths before the next time you pull out your penis and whack off with yourself or jerk off or whatever you want to call it. Take a pause in between just to check how you're doing. Am I okay? You know, what's up? Oh, I'm angry. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, I'm lonely. You know, there's nothing to do with that emotion. It's just something that is activated in our body, but we want to be aware of the emotion. And the awareness a lot of the times actually changes the emotion just by being aware. So understand that masturbation for men can be a mechanism of suppressing emotions, bad emotions, and then the pleasure is bigger or stronger than the pain. So that's how masturbation will help men suppress their emotions, basically. So we want to understand that mechanism. Now, sometimes it's not that's not the reason. Sometimes a man is very happy and he wants to masturbate. Or he had a conversation with a woman who's very attracted to, so he wants to masturbate. So many, many reasons that men want to pull out their penis and touch it. Many different reasons. There are no good reasons or bad reasons. We want to explore the reasons and we want to be aware of the reasons. And a lot of the times, these reasons are emotional. It's not a physical thing. So if we're talking about how many times to masturbate purely on a physical level, it depends on your age. So let's say up till 18, the mechanism of, the prostate and the ejaculation mechanism, that whole thing, it would take it about a day or two to recover until the next time. But then in your 20s, it might take 3 to 4 days. And in your 30s, it might take 4 to 5 days. And in your 40s, it might take 5 to 6 days. So that's how long the body takes to recoup, to recover after the ejaculation. Not the entire body, but the sexual organs. So that depends on your age. But that is only if we're talking about pure masturbation for release. Most of the times, it's other things. It's emotional. It's something that helps us feel better. It's an addiction. And the fact is that ejaculation actually makes us feel worse, not better. So we want to understand how the whole energy works in our body. So if I was talking on the way I see it, the healthiest level possible, it would be raise, and this is just like from a tantric perspective, raise your sexual energy every day. Ejaculate maybe once or twice a month. Maybe it will be synced with the moon cycle, but like once or twice a month is a normal, healthy number of times a man can ejaculate and not damage his body and his energy. And yeah, that would be my recommendation. So even for men But also for women, raise your sexual energy once a day. You can just put your hand there and think about something sexy. You can masturbate. You can just touch it a little bit and let it go. There are many things that you can do. Meet your sexual energy once a day. Ejaculate. I mean, the most I would say is once a week, but then twice a month would probably be better. And that would also be to release stuff that we're holding inside of our body. But if a man masturbates and ejaculates 3 times in that masturbation session, I would say do that once a week. If a man masturbates and ejaculates every time he masturbates, I would say maybe twice or 3 times a week. So it depends what's going on there. That's why the question or the answer isn't really black or white. It's complex. I have tried today to explain the different aspects of this complexity. And if you have thoughts on the subject or anything else to add, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm going to end it for today. But if you have more questions, please send them to me or write them in the comments, and I do address them in future videos. I will address them in future videos. And if you found this video informative, you're more than welcome to subscribe and to like. And I will upload a lot of these videos in the near future where I talk about energy work, sexual energy work, which is the tantric aspect, but also the chakras, the emotional work, the mental work, the awareness, the consciousness. I mean, it's all connected. So these are the topics that I talk about. And if they interest you, you're more than welcome to subscribe. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.